If you knew me when I was in elementary school, you'd either A. Thought I was acting, B. Thought I was arrogant, or C. Just thought I was really weird. But the truth is, I was struggling every day because I didn't understand the language that everyone else was using. I grew up feeling more comfortable expressing myself in English because basically my brain has more memory in English when I read books, when I sing, when I basically almost do anything. And that doesn't mean I can speak my native language, which is Indonesian. Yeah, of course, when I get older, specifically now, pastinya saya udah bisa dong bahasa Indonesia. But anyway, back then, I basically didn't know as much in Indonesian as I know in English. Back then, I was basically a quiet kid. But that doesn't mean I'm shy or anxious or anything really. I just talk when I needed to. And if I didn't need to talk, well, I didn't talk. So I didn't isolate myself to feel more superior or something like that. I just communicate with people that I feel comfortable communicating with without feeling lost. I also ask a lot of very simple questions that always starts with a certain word called what. And basically, I didn't know some words in Indonesian. So every time I didn't know, I interrupted the class and the teacher also and asked, apa artinya itu? Like that. And yeah, maybe my classmate thought I was just grabbing attention or anything, but I genuinely did not know. I remember in primary 5, I raised my hand and asked the teacher, what is that? And then my teacher, of course, answered patiently. So, teacher, if you're watching this, thank you for being patient with me. And basically, after the teacher answered, oh, I understand, okay. And then I read the next book, and then, oh, what's this? And then I asked the teacher again only a couple minutes later. Also, before that, in primary 4, there was a science test. Now, in that science test, let me visualize it, a visual representation. There's an image of a fish. Now, we need to identify the parts of that fish. Like, oh, this is the fin, this is the tail, etc. Now, one of it is the skin of the fish, which is scales, right? Now, I didn't know that sirip is scales in Indonesian. So I just write the English term for sirip and basically hope for the best. And again, my teacher understood it. So when I was little, I also mixed up a lot of words. Like, not because I didn't know them or I had something wrong. It's just that the sounds are pretty close. For example, glasses. You know glasses, right? Glasses in Indonesian are kacamata. But sometimes the word K and C is a bit too close, so sometimes I accidentally say cakamata. Also, hiccups is in Indonesian is cekukan. See, I almost said it again. Cekukan is basically when I actually do cekukan, I accidentally say kecukan. And there's just so many examples of that. Also, similar words like kepala and kelapa, which is coconut and head. Also, structuring in words, I have a bit of issues. For example, I want to say, my English has improved. Bahasa Inggris saya sudah bagusan. But sometimes I accidentally say, in fact, I almost said it this recording this time, is Inggris saya membagus. There's so many instances of that. Also, menjalan, like, I don't know why, but sometimes when I say them, it sounds correct, but at the same time, it doesn't sound correct. Like, I know it's not correct, but it just feels right. Fun fact, when I also talked to a friend, she talked about paret and bungsu. And to be honest, I completely did not know what those two words really mean. I mean, I of course know them right now because, well, I just know right now. And it was basically talking, and then he said, you know, I fell in a paret once. And then I was like, what's a paret? And then she said, It's like a long pole, next to your house, And then I was like, that's just making me more confused. What is that? And then my mom informed me from the side that, oh, Paret means God. And then I was like, oh, God. And also Bungsu also. Because for me, I only know youngest child. I didn't know Bungsu at the time. I also had a friend. He was a junior. So when I was year 5, primary 5, he was primary 4. And when I was primary 6, he was primary 5. Now, basically, when I met him, we immediately become friends because basically, when I talk English to him, he understands because he can also speak English, and also he just generally like the same things as me, which makes it more like a Bluetooth connection, if you know what I mean. And we basically played with each other and barely even talk in Indonesian, and like play chess, and even once made a full world building map with like tens of fictional countries, but I think that's a story for another time. So, if my friend is watching right now, shout out, respect. Thank you, man. Now, I would like to say thank you to my mom who reached out to the teachers and told them that maybe basically said sorry that maybe that I don't know much Indonesian, and also thank you to the teachers who stayed patient even though I asked like a bajillion questions. Also, thank you to all my friends who understood me. And also, thank you to my friends who expanded my vocabulary in Indonesian. So, let me know down below if you had any similar struggle experiences because I would really like to read them because you're not alone on this one. And if you want to know how did I learn English, you can click the link down below. And I'll see you next Friday.